Welcome, everyone. We're going to do 118 right here. You're in my class. Make sure you do the deliverable. What is if statements? Can't make it easier, man. A few other notes here. I will put my work in Python and Replit and share this, posting it to the channel. So let's begin. Turtles in traffic. What are you doing here? Well, we're doing up through step 14 today. We're going to learn what if statements are and if, else if, and else. Like, this is pretty big. All right? This is huge. Honestly, I'm surprised that Project Lead the Way didn't do ifs before while loops and for loops. I would think you would start with ifs. So, yeah, this is big. This is used a lot. And then we're going to create an algorithm with nested conditionals and nested iteration to stop turtle movement when they collide. That sounds kind of fun, but that'll probably be day 2, huh? So what's a conditional? Now, we've done conditionals. I don't understand why they're defining this word right now. There are a lot of situations where you only want to execute certain statements if a certain condition is true. Okay, this type of situation is called a conditional. Okay, so you know how in while loops we have that if this is true, do everything in here, but the while loops will keep looping, right? So the difference with conditionals like this, with an if statement, is it's only going to check once. If it's true, it does it. And if it's not true, it skips it. And that's it. Like, it's only going to happen once if it's true, or never if it's not true. It's only going to check once. Where while loops will keep checking, ifs just check it once. So it's like a simpler version of a while loop. There's no loop. It just does it once. Conditionals occur every life too as you make decisions. For example, think how you got ready this morning. Okay, if it's cold outside, I grab a jacket. If everything's on fire outside, I grab a fire extinguisher. You don't keep asking yourself that. It's like a jacket. You don't go, oh, is it cold? Get a jacket. You don't keep sitting there and keep asking if it's cold. Do it once. If it's not cold, you don't bring the jacket. Go to school. Well, not right now. Distance learning. But, maybe you checked what the weather's outside, grab something. So, blah, blah, blah. Okay. If statement. So in Python, the conditional statement is called if. It's an if statement. Why do we call it a conditional? While loops are conditional loops. Why do you call if statements? If statements are in every programming language, folks. Like, same thing with like whiles pretty much are, but it's always called ifs. If statements and else, if and else and stuff, right? So a block of statements under the if statements called the condition is true. So here's how it looks. I like the videos they do for this. If condition, block of statements. So if's the keyword you put in front, and then this is the condition. If this is true or false, you put a colon, just like while and for loops. And then you have your stuff below. That's what it looks like. All right. So let me actually put this in these notes. I should put this in the channel too. Share this with everyone. So this is all my notes. If statements. If I'm gonna do condition. And then it's going to say, just do it. Just go do stuff here. Actually, I like doing this square bracket or the angled brackets if people are supposed to put stuff in. I think I've done it that way before. So if statements, it's kind of like the for loop. I'll make this bold, make it bigger. Make it bigger. I don't want to make it like that. If statements. Okay. If the condition is true, do the stuff inside the if statement. Do the indented stuff. So you got to make sure you indent like you did with while loops. If it is not true, it will skip the stuff inside. If only checks once. Okay, that's what I would say. So examine the following code and make a prediction of the results. So I say number equals enter a number, input right here. And then if that number is greater than 90, it prints out this. So my guess is, remember input is where user has to type in something. They type in a number. And this will convert it to an integer, if you remember that int thing. They enter a number. And then if that number is greater than or equal to 90, so it's bigger, 90 or above, gonna print that out. That's what I would say. Run the program. I'm gonna do it in Replit. Why not? What do I do here? Enter a number. Okay, so I'm gonna enter a number 6. It did nothing. I'm gonna run it again. If I enter the number like 99, it says input is 90 or more. Cool. What if I enter the number 90 exactly? Input is 90 or more. Okay. Awesome. Entering different inputs. Try that out. If you're curious on, maybe it's easier to view this in Trinket. Okay. Oh, sometimes this is faster. So what if you do like negative 90? It's still less, so it'll do nothing. What if you do 90.5? Oh, decimals don't work. You better do an integer. Converts to integers. Remember that. We haven't even done decimal numbers yet. So, what if you do like a math equation? Can you go 85 plus 5? No, it doesn't. It doesn't handle that, right? No. You gotta actually do numbers. So I can do like a really big number. There you go. Okay. Seems good to me. Straightforward. Run the program. The code will not do anything unless the input is greater than 90. The behavior can be confusing to a new user, making them think nothing is happening. So yeah, because that code just, if it's less than that, it doesn't tell you, oh, your number was less than that. It just will only say something if it's greater than, right? Luckily, the if statement can expand to include what is called an else clause. The else clause handles the situation when the condition is not true. So yeah, like sometimes you might want it to do like the if, but if that's not true, you want it to do something else, right? You don't always just want it to do like check one thing. So one way we can do this is by having an else. And it looks like this right here. So if the condition and that's true, you do this block of statements, else do that block. And some things to note from that video is else doesn't have a conditional, just has else colon. There's no condition. This is like, so what happens is if this is true, you do this one. But if that's not true, you do the else. If the if was true, it would run the if and then jump. It wouldn't do the else. It only does the else. Like it will only do one of these things. Okay. With the whole idea with if else, and we're going to learn about else if, it's only going to do one of them. And it just checks them in the row. Whatever one becomes true first, it does. Otherwise, if nothing's been true, it'll do the else. All right. So let's actually add that to my document here. If statements. And I'm going to just add it into this. Else statement. I guess I can do it this way. I could probably, I don't know. This is going to get confusing maybe. Go else. And then I go do stuff here. Auto cap. Then we're going to make it big. Else, I would say else runs when the if is false. It's like the default. Well, I don't want to say it that way. So it runs when it's false. Okay, sure. Maybe I'll, as we learn everything else. So let's look at this code. Okay, so now they just added else at the end of it, right? So what's going to happen here? So number is this, print this, else print input is less than 90. Let's see what happens now with this code. If I enter the code 90, still great, right? What if I enter the number 88? Input is less than 90. What if I enter the number 0? Less than 90. What about negative numbers? Negative 50 still works out. But if I enter like a really big number, input is 90 or more. So it's always going to do one or the other. So the way this code works is when I enter 99. 99 is going to be saved as num. And it says if 99 is greater than 90, it's yeah, it prints out input is 90 or more. Then what it does, and here I'm going to spoil this, PLTW might spoil this. I don't like the order, so I got to explain this now. And they're probably going to explain it too. So I want to run this again. So if you do like 99, so what's going to happen is the 99 is going to be true. So it prints out input is 90 or more. Then after that, it skips the else and goes to the next line. Like this print statement here will always print out because it's not part of the else. So 99, greater than that, prints this out, and then goes to line 7 and prints that out. But watch if I do a number like less than that, 50. Gonna go, oh, that's false, so skip to line 5, and then else prints out this, and also prints out the end. So just want to show you that. I'm sure PLTW is going to do that later, but there we go. They don't? Just go straight to nested? Come on, dudes. Okay. I just wanted to show that, like, it's not that the program stops. Like, there's a point it comes back in when, like, the indents are lined up with the if. Nested conditionals. So there'll be instances when you want to test if or more than one condition at a time. To do this, you'll use what is called a nested if or else. Type of statement is if and else. All right. So sometimes, like, you can have, when I say nested, and I think we did this with while loops as well. You have the if-else combo right here, right? If-else combo in line 2 and 4. Well, you can keep having ifs and elses inside of other ifs and elses. And keep going deeper and deeper. Right? Let's look at this code before I run it. Okay, sets a number. I like how this is building up. And if that's print 90 or more, go for it. And it says else, well, if it's not 90 or more, now it's going to run all this code. If the number is greater than 80, prints that. But what if it's not else? Now it goes deeper. What if it's greater than 70? Input 70 or more. And then otherwise, 60. And then else, print less than 60. Okay. So let's see what this actually does. Like pulling it up. So if I do the number 99, 90 or more, right? I did a number 75. 70 or more. So what's happening with the number 75? 75 saved. Is this, this is going to be false, so it jumps to the else. And the else, the first line says, is that greater than 80? Nope. So it jumps to this else. Which goes in again. It says, is that number greater than 70? Yeah. Then it prints this line. And then it skips all this. You know, I like I'm going to put a the end in. Print the end. I want to show you that and where things skip out. So if I do like 64, 60 or more. So what it's doing is this, it says false, and it goes into here. It says no, it's not greater than 80. No, it's not greater than 70. Greater than 60, yeah, print out this, skips this, and then goes to the end. Same thing, let me do like, if I did 100 again, to show you this, this becomes true, it prints this, then it skips this else, everything else is in this, All of this stuff is inside the else on line 4. So skips it all, goes straight to print this. Right? Yeah. That's what's going on. Were their predictions correct? Yeah. You know what's neat when you're doing this? Because like the number 100 is also greater than 80. It is greater than 80. I mean, this would be true as well. I mean, maybe a better way to say this, input is, you could probably do, is between 80 and 89. That would probably be a better thing to say. Because it's not 70 or more. Because, like, you know, you're 90. If your number is 100, all of these would be true except for this. I don't know. They're not trying to get weird, though. Guilty W's. I'm just getting ahead of myself. Now, you look at this code and you go, why do we have these nested loops? This just makes it harder and there's too many indents. There's got to be a better way. And there is. This is garbage right here. You never, come on, you don't need to do it this way. We can do something called else if. So when you have a lot of choices, you know, you can say, you know, do I do this? If I want to do this, I do that. Like if I have a bunch of choices, I go, if this, else, if this, else, if this. So we have this idea like, instead of going else if, we actually have a command, else if. And this is going to make this simpler without doing this nested loop. So we can accomplish this called the elif command. It's a combination of else if. I hate that it's called elif, but that's how Python does it. So here's what it looks like. We've done our if, done our else. Elif would go in between these. And you could do as many elifs as you want. So if this is true, you do this. Let's look at what this looks like. Notice elifs still have conditionals. It's elif has a conditional with a colon still. Ifs and else ifs have it. Else does not have conditionals. Only one of these will be run. Only one of these. Like if this ifs or else ifs are true, the first one that's true is going to be run. And then if none of them are true, else is run. Okay? And you can have multiple else if. So like in this example below. But let's put that in my notes as well. You know what? I'm actually going to put it, I feel like it should be put elif statement. I don't know why I call it statement. Elif addition. And then we say do stuff here. Why do you? So elif stands for else if. If the, I'm going to say when the if statement is false, the next thing checked is our elif statements. If the elif is true, do the stuff inside. So hopefully that kind of explains it a little bit. I think a lot of this is just like, there's a really good code. Oops. So, I mean, one thing to understand is only one of these else ifs is going to run. And the if or else ifs. And it's the first one that is true, right? So here's the case. Like, let's take this code. Whatever the first one that is true is going to run. So let's say I take a number and then I'm going to add print the end. I like doing it. We enter a number. I'm going to run this. 100. Input is 90 or more at the end. So it's basically doing what we did before. But notice one thing here. Is it greater than 90? Yes. It prints this. But that number would also be greater than 80 and 70 and 60. But it doesn't just print everything. The first one that is true, it runs, and then it skips to, it skips out of everything. Like, think of this if and else if blocks are all connected. And it'll print and it'll just print one of these. The if else is like, they're all connected in a way, so it's only going to run one of those. So it prints that and then goes to the end. If I try this again, then I go 81. This is if's false, so it goes to this elif, greater than 80, it prints this, goes to the end. All right? If I run this again, I go to like 55, input's less than 60 because it goes false, 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 default answer. So that's with else ifs. Now, okay, spoilers ahead. Okay, I want to show you something. Okay, PLTW doesn't do this. What if I change these all to ifs? What do you think would happen? Going off the rules here. I'm just going to try this. Let's show you. So think about it. Now I'm going to run this. Now if I did the number 100, what do you think? What? So now it actually does them all. Because 100 is greater than 90, greater than 80, greater than 70, greater than 60. It prints everything. And the reason is every if statement is like its own check. So instead of before where I have them as else ifs, they're all connected. They're not connected anymore. No, that's false. These two are connected. This else is only connected with this if. Connected with nothing else. These are a team, but these are all separate ifs. So sometimes you might want to do it that way if you want them all to be checked. You don't do else if. But if you want them to be like, I only choose one of these options, go with else ifs. So I just wanted to show you that. Maybe that was part of some PLTW lesson. Wow. Did a lot so far. I'm going to go through step what? Okay, so maybe you've noticed the purpose of this. It's kind of a grading system, right? So if 90 and above, you're an A. And 80 and above, you're B. 70 above, C. 60 above is D. Less than that, then you failed. Revise the print statements in the code editor so they display the letter grades A, B, C, D, and F. Once you've done that, change the values of conditions to make it more or less difficult. Earn a higher grade. What? Okay, so I'm just going to open. Okay, this is back to normal. If I got a grade of 88, 80 or more, right? So let's change this. Input. So if you got 90 or more, it's like you get an A. Wow. You got a B. You got a C. Hey, it's passing at least. Hey, it's no. Well, D's passing. Hey, not terrible. You got a D. At least it counts for credit. Oh. Else, uh-oh. F. Press F to pay. So if I put your grade in, you got a 76. Or you got a 50. Go. Okay, I did it. Change the value. So, okay, let's say, I wanted to say, hey, I'm going to be nice to you. And you change that to say 50 or above is a D. I don't know. Maybe you're some school that doesn't want to fail people. So I get a 51. That counts as a D. You can change those. Actually, my school, I think, does 89.5. But we can't deal with decimals yet in this class, so learn those. Change the values of conditions, make it more or less difficult, blah, 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 blah. With a conditional statement, you're not limited to just comparing a variable integer. You can also do numbers. Okay, so one other thing to look at here. If I were to do a good job, I may not just want to put numbers right there. I want to make separate variables. So they say maybe you get a grade of an A. You need a 90. And maybe you set these as variables. Grade B equals 80 and so on, right? So instead of this, I can just go grade A. This one's grade B and so on. Sometimes it's nicer to do that, especially if you're going to use that number in multiple places. Set it as a variable. And it would still work out. Got a 95. Got an A. Sometimes if statements can produce unexpected results. Within an if and else if structure, once a condition is matched, the rest will be ignored. Oh yeah, that's what I talked about earlier. Predict what will happen with the new reversed variation. Okay. So do this, but what if you checked for D's first? Then you check for C's, then you check for B's, then you check for A's. Well, it's going to do it in order. So if you get a 60 or above, it's going to say you got a D. Now I said, oh, I got 95 on the test. Now I have a D. If I got 67 on the test, I get a D. What's crazy with this? There would be no way. What if I got a really high grade? Still a D. What if I get like a 50 on it? Nothing happens. No else. So the way this is written, you could never get a C or B or an A. Like I was saying before, the first one happens in the loop and everything else gets ignored. One other thing to see here is you don't need an else. You don't have to have an else. So, like if nothing's true, it just does nothing. Run the program a few times, try to produce each letter grade. I can't produce these other three as I'm going through that. Not possible. Everything's going to be either D, because these are all graded. These are all, if this one's true, these are all true. Not possible. So that's one thing when you write if statements. Take care, like remember that it does that order. The text, the top one first, and so on. So if you're not careful, you just kind of throw things in there randomly, you might not get the behavior you expect. Now, there's other things we could do to fix that. Let's see if they tell you how to do it. Okay, so bonus points here. What I would do, you can do or statements to say, or like you can say, the grade has to be greater than 80 but less than 90. You have to go greater than 80. So if numbers, so let's try this one. Numbers greater than 70 and numbers is less than 80. So see how I did that? And I'm sure we're going to learn that later in PLTW. You can cap those ranges so you don't have to worry about that overlap. And I could do that to fix this one. So like for this one, if I want to say this and number is less than 70, this would be better. So now I have, if I do a number like 75, I'm going to get a C. So that's one thing you can do. Just make sure it caps those ranges. It doesn't make it unlimited. But you'll learn that later, I'm sure. I want to show you that. Take care when writing. Nested for loop iteration. Long. Just like you can nest if and while statements, you can also nest for loop statements inside other statements. This is a simple but powerful construct in computer science. For loop will execute a statement. Didn't we do this last time? I think we just had 2 for loops. We nested while loops. Yeah, you can nest for loops. What's interesting with for loops, I almost think it like for loop does like everything in a list, right? When you have a nested for loop, like Annotate. Like it does, if I had a list of things, it does everything on the list, right? But when you have a nested for loop, you're actually kind of like doing a two-dimensional. Makes it kind of two-dimensional in a way. Like thinking about it that way. I don't know. That's my interpretation of things. You're gonna iterate everything on this list, and then you do on this list. It ends up doing like two-dimensional. I don't know. Maybe that was weird. Shouldn't have said anything. Let's look at this code. Predict what the output will be. I can't even see it. Okay. Days of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. My course is English, Math, CS. CSP, folks. AP CSP for some of you. Not my school. That's a long story. Not too long. Want to take the AP test? Let me know. For D and days of the week, print D. Okay, so prints everything here. And then for C and my courses, print. Okay, so then it's going to, every day it's going to print every course with like a space in between, right? That's what I'd say. Run it. Yep. Monday, oh, I didn't realize it would do it this way though. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. There you go. So it like does all of the days and then does this list inside of that. Explore how nested loops work. Oh, video and walkthrough. There's no sound for this. Okay, so oh, this is kind of cool. I like when they do these videos. All right, so this is the outer loop. And says for everything in there, we print the stuff in the inner loop. Okay. So we got those three, CSP. And then we got our 5 days. Okay, so then it goes to Tuesday, and then it does the inner loop, and dun. Okay. You're kind of seeing what's going on. Now we go to Wednesday, and then we have to do the inner loop again every time. Mm-hmm. All right, same thing with Friday. Okay, cool. All right. That's neat. All right, so then explains that, blah, blah, blah. How many total iterations occurred. So the way this worked, I mean, you basically had 5 iterations of this loop, but then it did it 5 iterations here, but each time it did 5, it did 3. So 5 times 3 is 15 lines, basically. So 1, 2, well, how many iterations of, it asked, how many iterations occurred? If 5 iterations, yeah, 5 times 3, basically, yeah. All right. Okay, what's a neat thing? If you, let's see, flip this order. Made this days of the week. And this was my classes. What? My courses. Hey, English on the days, math on the days, and CSP on those days. You can do it that way too. The indent happens because they print this line before print. Kind of clever. All right, nested loops and conditionals almost done. Now you'll create a more practical program using both my courses list and grading algorithm. Start with a small grade segment, add to the user. Create a new thing. Okay, well, I'm going to do this. Oh man, create a new code. Okay, I'm going to do this in my Replit. There. Small. Okay, to help plan your programs, what am I supposed to do? Okay, this will do nothing because I have nothing in the while loop. To help you plan your programs, you can express what you want to do using pseudocode. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Use the 4 code segments below to complete your program. So what I want it to do, what is it actually asking me to do? Get grades for all my courses or something? Okay. And I should be copying each of these lines in some order. I don't really understand what they want. Pseudocode. Okay, you can write in pseudocode. Okay, so here's this. For each of the course I'm taking, enter a point amount and display it. So we're going to use their pseudocode. So for each of the courses I'm taking, so for course in my courses, for course in my courses, enter a point count and display the corresponding letter grade. So that means a person's going to have to enter the points for the course. That's this one right here. I paste. Okay, now when I paste, I want to line these up to be in the while loop still. Doesn't that work? Oh, and they have to be in the for loop. Go. Why does that look weird? Does this just run, or is it? Wait, something didn't work. Okay. Okay, well, I don't want it to keep doing that forever. Okay, so far it's working. Color scheme was just weird. If you want to redo the grades, start over. Otherwise, the program ends. Okay. Oh, wait. I have to do the display the corresponding letter grade. So, do this. So that's the letter grades. And then, actually going to highlight these. I want to have it like this. Okay. And then, if I do this, enter the points for English, 83. That's how much I got. Yes. It's going to keep asking me. Okay. But I don't want to keep asking me. If you want to redo your grades, start over. Otherwise, the program. If you want to redo your grades, start over. Otherwise, end. So that'll be this code right here. Okay. So it should ask that in the while loop. You want to redo your grades, yes or no? If you say yes, it changes this to true, otherwise false. This makes it so you don't while loop forever. And I'm just going to print. We're done. Try this again. And points for English, 64. Math, I got that many. Computer science, 74. You need to redo the grades? No. We're done. But if we said yes, we'd redo them. And that's it, folks, for this lesson. Test your product. We're done. Tune in next time for the rest. See ya.